Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Dr. Young, will you lead us in the flag salute?
Yes, everyone, good evening. Please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Ewan. Okay, at this time, I'd like to see who is present. Ms. Gutierrez?
Here.
Mr. Ramirez? Mr. Ramirez is not with us yet. Ms. Cabrera?
Present.
Ms. Magaña?
Present.
And I am present as well. Ms. Copado?
Yes, good evening, President Uribe, members of the board and members of the executive cabinet. I will be making an announcement concerning public comment. For members of the public who may wish to provide public comment in real time during tonight's meeting, we direct you to the instructions under item number 10 on tonight's agenda. Please ensure to provide public comment at the designated time for public comment. There are two ways to provide public comment in real time. The first method is by dialing 323-887-7900, extension 2494, or by clicking the raise hand button on the Zoom application, or dial *9 to raise your hand from a phone. If members of the public dial in telephonically and the line is busy or goes straight to voicemail, please hang up and try again. Public speakers may choose, but need not identify themselves to the Board of Education. However, if any follow-up may be required, providing contact information is encouraged. Accordingly, members of the public should be prepared to identify themselves, provide contact information, and the agenda matter they wish to address. Further, the board may limit the overall time of public comment to no more than 30 minutes, or limit the time per speaker to 1 minute for purposes of efficiency to ensure the district can carry on with its business as agendized. Again, for further directions and information, please refer to item number 10 on tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Copado. I move to approve the minutes. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez is not here yet. Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. Dr. Garland, are there any modifications to this evening's agenda?
Yes, Madam President. Item 9A8 was pulled. Items 6M and 9B2 were revised. Copies have been provided to you and copies have been uploaded to the website for the public.
Thank you, Dr. Garland. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with the modifications as indicated by Dr. Garland?
Move to approve.
I'll second that. Roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
An aye for me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, I would like to call on Dr. Garland for our student board member reports.
Thank you. Good evening. So we will have our student member reports tonight. Our first report is from Sandy Membreno from Applied Technology Center High School. She was unable to make it, but she did email in her statement, so I'll read that for her. Good evening, President Uribe, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Scarvana, and the executive cabinet. My name is Sandy Membreno, and I'm the student body president for the ASB of the Applied Technology Center. Commencing the spooky month of October, the club TLC planned a nice family movie night on campus on the 1st of October, allowing families and students to come together and have some free food and viewing of the family movie Megamind. That's not the only thing starting off. The month of October is the War on Hunger campaign started on the 1st of October. It consisted of collecting canned goods from polluted areas on campus and donating them to the War on Hunger. On the week of October 5th to October 8th, celebrating Student Appreciation Week, ASB prepared a free hot dog lunch for every graduating class. For the 4th of October until the 9th of October, our school participated in Jocelyn Senior Week, which consisted of daily reminders to the senior graduating class of 2022 to submit their orders for their caps and gowns. ASB's first fundraiser also commenced on October 4th, which included the sale of Dia de los Muertos tumblers. The funds are going towards Dia de los Muertos altar we're working on to provide those who have lost someone some closure here on our campus. The junior class of 2023 has worked hard on their PSAT test on the 13th of October and on the 26th. The sophomore class of 2024 took their PSAT test. On the day of October 25th, we judged the pumpkins submitted by the pumpkin carving contest for the school year of 2021-2022, which also counted for pathway points for the pathway games. Spirit Week during the week of October 25th to the 29th was a success. Students participated in a pumpkin carving contest, pajama and twin days, and said lights out to drugs by wearing all black, and costume day to celebrate the spooky holiday. ATC hosted our first blood drive with Cedars-Sinai Hospital on Monday, October 25th. The ATC blood drive captains and donors were able to collect 47 units of blood, which is the second highest amount of units collected at an ATC Cedars-Sinai blood drive. A costume contest that included students of all grade levels was hosted on the 29th of October. Concluding our month of October on the 29th, we organized a Halloween hangout to give our students an opportunity to hang out with their friends with free games and music. Throughout the month of October, a team of students worked together to put together a beautiful referendum that consists of an altar filled with frames of students' lost loved ones, food, and decorations to put up on the 1st of November. ATC is honored to host the War on Hunger kickoff event on Monday, November 1st, 2021 at 9:15 a.m. Our ASB class of 2024 officers and the ATC TLC representatives from the food recycling program look forward to welcoming the board and executive cabinet to our school. The chef pathway also prepared treats for students to celebrate the week of Dia de los Muertos on the 3rd of November, distributed during lunch. A fundraising opportunity called Club Rush has been postponed to the 17th of October. And that concludes Sandy's statement. Now, I didn't see Emily on here. Let me look one more time. Emily Maris, are you on here? I don't see her, and I don't see a statement from Emily. So I'll keep looking, and I'm sure Martha will send it to me if she gets it. So we'll move on to Lily from Montebello High School. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Board President Uribe, members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Scarvana, Executive Cabinet, and members of the audience. My name is Lily Ejan, and I am the Associate Student Body President at Montebello High School. The month of October for Montebello High School was very eventful. On October 18th, we had a football game against Bell Gardens where we sadly fell. We had an amazing homecoming week where our students showed their school pride by participating in homecoming activities such as our Spirit Week and our annual homecoming carnival. We also hosted a homecoming movie night on October 16th where we showed High School Musical. On October 22nd, we had a football game against our rivals, Sure High School, where we sadly fell again. But not to disappoint, on October 28th, we played Mark Keppel where we won, which was exciting to see because it was also our senior night where we recognized our football players and our cheerleaders and as well as brigade. It was such an amazing moment to see our students come together and have an amazing senior night. On October 28th, we also hosted a senior sunrise where our seniors got to spend some quality time with their friends and make memories that will initially last them a lifetime. On October 29th, we held our annual Halloween parade where we got to see our students participate with their amazing costumes. It was nice to see how creative some students can get. Today, we had a club rush during lunch, which gave students an opportunity to explore the clubs our campus offers. This was a great idea because our students got to see what clubs they might have interest in and initially join, which was the main goal of the event. We are holding a senior medallion contest, which will help decide what our graduation medallion will be for the class of 2022. The contest ends on November 9th, which is coming up shortly. And on November 15th, we plan on having a blood drive where we hope to hit our goal of having 75 people donate. Thank you for the time and acknowledgement. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Are there any questions for me?
No questions. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Great to see you. Now we'll move on to Shore High School. Samantha Hernandez. Good evening, Samantha.
Good evening. Good evening, President Uribe, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna, and Executive Cabinet. My name is Samantha Hernandez, and I'm the student body representative from Shore High School. Today, I will be discussing the latest updates regarding the status of Shore High School from the month of October and the upcoming month of November. Our homecoming game took place October 8th, and our carnival took place well. We had food trucks, games, and clubs were able to sell items to raise money for their organization. The 10th and 11th graders took their PSAT on October 11th. ID pictures were taken for all grade levels the last week of October. Sophomore USB decorated our campus with pink streamers and posters in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. On October 15th, we had our senior sunrise, in which seniors were able to go to campus early. We got there like at 6 a.m. so they could spend time with their fellow friends. And yeah, this week teachers began helping seniors with college applications, personal insight questions, and applications. Seniors started ordering cap and gowns from Jostens last week, which was our Jostin week, and senior portraits started this week in the library. Our senior USB had a Halloween contest last Friday to promote school spirit, especially because Halloween this year was on a Sunday, and no one was able to kind of see them in their costume on Sundays. So, Avid had a pledge signing. During this event, Avid has a poster out in the quad, and they encourage students to come and sign the poster, and so they pledge that they're going to college. Our GBL pathway had a mixer in which members of the pathway played games and promoted membership for their pathway. The Hispanic Awareness Club had a fundraiser in which they sold churros during lunch to mark the end of Hispanic Heritage Month. One of the members of the club, actually, her name's Diana, rolled in, sang mariachi music while students danced and cheered her on. Our freshman USB had a poster for Red Ribbon Week in which students signed and pledged to be drug-free. Our school just recently got 5 league championships, and all these sports went to CIF, including football, girls tennis, girls cross country, water polo, and girls volleyball. Our girls volleyball team went so far to make it to round 3 of CIF, and we're very proud of them for that. Today, our school's Renaissance hosted an event in which motivational speaker Erin Davis came to talk to students about how words have a large impact on people. There's an SSC meeting the 17th of November where students from SURE actually report to the parents about what's been happening on campus. It's kind of like the board meeting, but instead it's students reporting to parents. Clubs such as Avid and Drama sold Halloween grams to fundraise for money for their clubs. And I know as of now, Avid is selling college grams in which they're doing that as a fundraiser too, and they send it to whoever they want. And that's all I have for right now. Are there any questions from the board members at this time?
No questions. Thank you, Samantha, for your beautiful smile. It's definitely contagious. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Now we have Bill High School, Chantel Johanna Torres.
Do I have to turn my camera on? Sorry.
Pardon me?
Do I have to turn my camera?
Well, we would love to see your beautiful face, but we understand if that maybe is not possible. So please don't worry about it, but we'd love to see.
Okay, sorry. Hi, good evening, Madam President Uribe, members of board, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna, and the Executive Cabinet. I'm Aranza Delgado. I have been appointed to the new president for BELS ASB. For this month of October, we made Halloween grams for the holiday. The grams were little spooky baskets with treats inside, also goodie bags. We also had a spirit week for the last week of October, which also included some lunchtime activities for Bullying Awareness Month and Red Ribbon Week. We made posters to hang around school. We also had a Stomp Out Bullying Week where we sent emails out to our teachers to share with their students, and teachers had them reflect on them. We had students plead against bullies and drugs as well. Thank you for your time and acknowledgement. Is there any questions you would like to ask?
No questions. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night. And that concludes our reports.
Thank you, Dr. Garland. At this time, I would like to call on Ms. Alma Horta, Montebello Teachers Association, for a presentation on the Revenue and Expense Committee.
Good evening, Board President Uribe, members of the Board, Executive Cabinet, and audience. My name is Alma Horta, and I'm the Committee Chair for the Revenue Expense Committee, representing the Montebello Teachers Association. Just to give you a little bit of a background of this committee, it is composed of MTA, CSCA, and AMSA members. And this committee, we review the district's budget and the revenues and expenditures on a monthly basis. The topics that we cover are the local control funding formula, facilities, technology, and attendance, and other related topics. Like I said, every month we review the LCAP and the trial balance by fund. We did have a question last month regarding psychologists and whether why they are at some school sites full-time and why at some sites they are part-time. We were made of the guidelines, so thank you. We don't know whether these are state guidelines, but if we have a pandemic going on right now and there's a backlog of information that needs to be done, and we need to concern ourselves with mental and the emotional state of our students, wouldn't it be necessary to revisit those guidelines? So that's a question that I'm posing. We also review technology. And now that we have the students that are back to in-person instruction, there's so much concern regarding the internet bandwidth at the school sites. Very simply, there is not enough bandwidth. This affects computer use, taking attendance on PowerSchool and telephone systems. So if we want our district to thrive in the 21st century, I think it behooves us to revisit the cabling projects so that we may be able to provide our students a 21st educational setting. Going to another topic, facilities. We every month we're informed of the HVAC and roofing and other projects that are completed or underway. So thank you for all the projects that are going on right now. Another concern that we had was unpaid assignments. There is still much concern with extra assignments that are not being paid in a timely fashion. This issue was brought up to the board last school year and is being brought up again this school year. We were made aware that there is still about 500 to 600 assignments that have not been paid to the employees. Question would be, why post an extra assignment or a professional development opportunity if there are so many jumps through hoops that just to get paid? So again, another question that's being posed. Attendance, we also go through student enrollment reports for each school site. We know that independent study teachers continue to do attendance logs for participation purposes, not only. Of concern is the student enrollment in our schools. We know that we're trying to capture student enrollment and attendance. So we decided as a committee that we would work on brainstorming viable ways to capture student attendance and enrollment in the years to come. We also decided as a committee that we would develop and use a shared folder where questions can be raised and answered in a timely fashion. So we wouldn't have to wait from 1 month to the next month or the following month to get our questions answered. I think I've pretty much covered the topics that we cover at our meeting. We've had 2 this school year. Are there any questions or comments?
I don't hear any questions, Ms. Horta, but definitely took a lot of notes and listening to the concerns. Thank you for bringing that to the board.
Thank you very much.
And at this point, we're gonna move on to our annual adult school presentation, and I would like to call on Dr. Yule.
Good evening. Tonight, the adult school team will be presenting their annual adult school presentation, which will include information about the number of students in each class, number of hours taught, and the cost of the class per student. Presenting this information will be Dr. Angel Gallardo, our interim director of adult school, and Mr. Travis Crow, one of our newest principals for adult school. He comes to us from Downey Unified and ABC Adult School. So we'd like to welcome him to our district formally. So Dr. Gallardo, floor is yours.
Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna, Executive Cabinet, and members of the community. My name is Angel Gallardo, and I'm here today representing Montebello Adult School, and we're making our annual presentation for the board regarding the state auditor's annual report. And although adult ed has fulfill all the requirements, today's presentation meets that threshold. And are you seeing the presentation on your screen? Because I'm unable to see whether you are seeing it or not.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you, Dr. Gallardo.
All righty. And the other principal that was coming to represent adult ed today was Ms. Benedetta Kennedy. Unfortunately, due to some circumstances, she is unable to be with us, but sends her very regards. And it will be a short presentation. And Principal Crow, would you please take the next slide?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Gallardo. Some challenges during the pandemic, similar to our K-12 partners, LARIC adult education districts have felt the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Our adult learners have been experiencing many challenges such as digital inequity, the need to acquire essential technology skills, staying on task with their studies while juggling modern day stressors experienced during the pandemic, struggles with job and income, homeschooling their children and other family members, food and housing insecurity, caring for family members, dealing with the risk as essential workers. The pandemic has magnified the need on how the educational field will operate for years to come. It has forced educators to come up with more flexible ways to serving adult learners and to better meet their educational and learning needs. We go to the next slide. In regards to enrollments, interventions, and supports, Montebello Community Adult School and other LARIC district programs have experienced declining enrollment. During the 2020-2021 school year, there were numerous accomplishments and achievements made by students and staff. Our teachers have been developing essential technology skills and have implemented a variety of teaching strategies to meet the unique needs of our students. Teachers across all departments have implemented a variety of technology applications and learning management systems such as Zoom, Google Meets, Google Classroom, GradPoint, Burlington English, and Rosetta Stone, and many more. Students have also benefited from the transition to learn remotely and have acquired essential technology skills that have led them to employment and transitions into post-secondary education programs. Students are able to participate in online classes similar to those delivered at many college campuses, and they are continuing to accomplish their educational and career goals. Montebello Community Adult School is witnessing a gradual increase in student enrollment as students are starting to feel comfortable returning to campus. MCAS is sufficiently staffed in all of its departments to meet the needs of our adult students and surrounding communities.
Thank you, Mr. Crow.
You're welcome. Back to you, Dr. Gallardo.
Thank you. And the state auditor report of 2017-104 gave adult ed 6 recommendations. Currently, we have fully implemented 5 of them. And the one that we're fulfilling today, in addition to the presentation with the LARIC board, November 17th, will fulfill recommendation 29. I'm going to go briefly over just the fulfillment, but it is a summary that we've completed and fulfilled all the recommendations. 25 has been fully implemented. 26 has been fully implemented. 27 has been also fully implemented. 28 was fully implemented, and today's presentation fulfills 29. As you see, Adult Ed has been presenting to the school board and to the LERIC board every year around the same time. I think that you will see that on the LERIC side, even though 2019 is not included, we presented, but somehow there was no record mark as far as LERIC. So we did not include it as part of this. However, we have been informing LERIC as the recommendations indicated. Recommendation 30 has also been fully implemented. The one last part that I will share briefly, and at the end, if you have any questions, please do go ahead and ask. These are the areas that we need to report to you every year, which is the classes, the number of hours that teachers have taught, and the compensation, as well as the cost per student. And this year, our enrollment has been impacted to a degree because of the pandemic, but we have continuously engaged our students, and our teachers have been continuously getting more students to be involved, to be retained, and to be interested in Adult Ed. With this, it concludes the report of the request from, or the recommendations from the state audit. And we would like to know if the board has any questions for us or if executive cabinet.
Well, Dr. Gallardo, Mr. Crow, and Ms. Kennedy that is not able to join us. First of all, I just want to thank you guys and commend and applaud all of you for nearly having all the recommendations by the state auditor completed. I know that it has not been easy, and it's been a lot of work. And to all of the adult school team, thank you so much for all that you do for our students. I mean, words cannot express how grateful I am for your leadership. So thank you, Mr. Crow. Welcome to MUSD. And does the board have any comments or questions?
I have a question. Let me turn on my camera. Thank you for the presentation. That was helpful. I have a question regarding re-engagement of individuals who might have been very invested and engaged in adult education, but not very comfortable with technology. And so we know that the transition to doing things through Zoom and things like that might have led to some of them becoming disengaged. So, you know, do you have an anecdote? And maybe if it's not now, if you could send it over my way of what we've been doing to try to re-engage individuals who, again, might have been disengaged due to that piece.
We definitely will send our strategies that we're utilizing. One thing I can tell you is that as we welcome everyone back, it's taking us a little time to get people to be back. I think that people are still worried about COVID. They're still worried about exposure. But I can assure you that one group that has continuously been engaged, which I'm really happy to report, is our ESL programs. Our citizenship program have been continuously growing. So one of our strategies for this year has been that we're reaching out to every student who has not been attending, and we want to engage the community. I think that we have been very lucky that all of you, the board, has been supportive of Adult Ed and continues to be, as well as cabinet and our superintendent. I think one of the recommendations that one of you gave us, I think a couple of you, is to engage with the different cities in connecting and engaging at a bigger scope. That is one of our tasks to do this year, because we want to create the best possible arena for adult learners to come back and re-engage, whether it being just for the fun of being engaged or to find a second career that they may be seeking or needing. I could tell you that one of our programs that I think is so valuable, we have music and older adults attend, and they're been doing it remotely, which I find that fascinating. But it is a group that we are re-engaging in some modality, and we want to bring everyone back. We want to engage as many as possible, as well as invite you all to visit as the schools open up, because we want you to see all the different enhancements to the academic learning settings that your support cabinet and Dr. Yuen has been providing. And I thank him so very much, as he is our connect to all of you. And we're very thankful to each and every one of you for your support for adult ed. And I most definitely will connect and send that summary of what we're doing in strategies to you and to the rest of the board.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gallardo.
Madam Board President, can I make a comment too? And I just want to share something with the board and the community.
Yes, of course.
Sure. I want to specifically thank Dr. Gallardo and Mr. Crow. We are actually working together with K-12 to implement a credit recovery option for some of our high school students. We want to give our students multiple opportunities to meet graduation requirements, and adult ed has stepped up to that request. So adult school and our director of educational services, Ms. Alvidres, have been working together to come up with a plan on how we can provide the Grad Point program and various courses offered in adult school to some of our students who need additional credits so that they can work on their own time, after school, before school, weekend, so that they can graduate. So we'll provide the board with more information, but that's our charge, is to make sure that all of our students graduate.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yuen. Are there any further comments or questions from the board? Okay, I don't hear any. So thank you for joining us. Have a very blessed evening.
Thank you to all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And at this time, we will be moving on to our school service organizations, and I would like to call on Dr. Yuen.
Yes, at this time, there aren't any school service organization reports.
Thank you. Do we have any employee organization reports?
I received a notice from CSCA that they do not have a report. However, I'm not sure about, I see Mr. David Navarre, so MTA.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Good evening. Ready? Good evening. There are over 22,000 students in Montebello Unified, and our members are proud to meet the needs of each and every one of our students, preschool through adult. Each day, we have over 1,200 professionals that dedicate themselves to ensuring that our students are provided with a quality education. That is why we are here. As stewards of educational justice, we must do everything that we can to ensure our students are given every opportunity to succeed academically and in life. We work with our community to close the achievement gap and deliver them the education that they deserve. In this pursuit of educational justice for our students and their families, everything that we do has to be strategic. Our work is that precious. Yet, unfortunately, time and time again, haphazardness is a strategy here at Montebello Unified. I will provide you with a couple of examples. There is still no testing for coronavirus at any of our schools. Testing is a critical strategy to combat COVID. Districts all over LA County have testing in place, but we do not. The plan for testing excludes classroom teachers. The testing times are during the instructional day. Students are released for testing. Teachers are excused from neither instruction nor professional meetings to conduct testing. We signed an agreement with the district that there would be no combo classes. We have over 40 throughout the district. We signed an agreement to lower class size. We have hundreds of violations of this throughout the district. There are hundreds of teachers that have not received timely payment for additional assignments, some for over half a year. I did receive an email this morning that 819 checks will go off this Friday. That is great news, and I am grateful for the heroic effort on behalf of many of our colleagues in payroll and human resources. But I ask, why does it take a heroic effort to do the ordinary? We have a systematic problem that we still have not addressed. I considered reading all the names to you one by one to impress upon you how wrong it is to have our members perform extra duties, ensuring that our students are receiving the education that they deserve and not get paid in a timely manner. But I've decided not to. I do ask, what is your time worth to you? Our member time is worth the respect of timely payment. I am not asking for anything revolutionary. I am asking that you respect our members, value their work, and pay them in a timely manner. Earlier this week, I met with a fellow labor leader, and I described myself as being new, a new president. She quickly corrected me and told me that I am not new. I have been here for 6 months. And for 6 months and beyond, these issues have plagued this district. I am not the only one who has been here for 6 months. As you know, I have been collaborative with the district and will continue to work with the leadership. But I must tell you that MTA is running out of patience. As stewards of educational justice, I ask this board to publicly request a report on coronavirus testing, including how it accommodates teachers, combo classes, class size violations, and what is being done to address the violations. Timely payment for additional assignments. On behalf of our community, I ask that you advocate for solutions as you are the stewards of educational justice. These matters affect students. Keep them at your center. As always, I will look forward to continuing to work with all of you. Thank you and have a good evening.
All right, next we have MPOA. I think I see Lieutenant Navarez here.
Good evening, Board President, Ms. Uribe, members of the board, Superintendent Marcos Gravana, and Executive Cabinet. I'm Corporal Navarez, representing the POA tonight. It's just a short, brief report. Last month, we had 2 lockdowns, and we had to relocate students from 2 schools. The first school was Potrero Heights. Second school was at Montebello Park Elementary. There was a shooting right across the street from that school. With the staff and everybody, all the law enforcement agencies involved, we collaborated and were able to get all the kids to their parents safe, which was excellent to see all the employees, police, and everybody working together. With that being said, we began our active shooter and lockdown procedures training via Zoom. We were keeping it kind of safe. We're doing it Zoom because of the COVID-19 procedures. Anybody wants to contact Sergeant George Magayon, and he would be coordinating those Zoom meetings. We would like to get support from the board in restoring the police services to operational levels with the minimum of an officer at each high school. Also, some of the schools are short permanent CSOs, and we only have 3 substitute CSOs that could provide security, and they're already there long-term. That are already assigned to the schools. Also, we've been having lots of cyber bullying and threats against employees in schools. And with only 2 of us at this moment, it's very hard to investigate these in a timely manner. Other than that, that's all I have. It's good to see everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing safe. Any questions from the board?
No questions. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, and then finally, AMSA sent a report that says they don't have a report, but they wish the board, executive cabinet, and the community a happy holiday season. And that concludes our employee group reports.
Thank you, Dr. Yuen. At this time, I'm going to move on to legal comments. Mr. McGuire. I'm actually not sure if I see him online. Dr. Garland, is Mr. McGuire joining us?
I don't see him online either, Madam President.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to public comment. Ms. Copado, do we have any written public comments?
Yes, President Uribe, we do have 2 written public comments. The first one is concerning staffing concerns at Bella Vista Elementary. Hello, Ms. Hakopian, Mr. Scavarna, and MUSD School Board. I am writing to you to express my continued concern for the understaffed environment at Bella Vista Elementary. Our front office secretary, Laura Garcia, who was bilingual, retired in 2020. As of today, no one has replaced her. When we asked Dr. Hardaway last year and this year, we were told that her request to fill Ms. Garcia's position was denied. Our remaining office staff is inundated with taking in Laura's task on top of the extra COVID-related tasks and the regular duties that were done pre-pandemic? Why hasn't MUSD replaced our front office secretary? Why do they allow our office staff to take in more work and in a new normal of COVID protocols? I previously expressed my concerns regarding the dual immersion program and lack of filled positions for the TOSA and kindergarten teacher. I still am concerned as we have 2 new Mandarin teachers this year and no TOSA supporting our program. This program does not have the additional resources as a Spanish dual immersion program where they can lean on other schools within MUSD for support. We hire a new Mandarin teacher every year and currently have no Mandarin dual immersion coordinator or TOSA to oversee this program and its future. Who oversees our DIA progress and standards? I would also like to express my concern regarding the no volunteer policy at our schools. So far, we have not been able to host any book fairs or assist teachers and staff. Programs such as the Reflections Art Contest and Spirit Days, where incentives are given to students for homework completion, have been compromised as well. The students are hurting because of this policy. Please revisit this as we parents are willing to show our vaccination status and follow protocols to help support our schools. Thank you for your time. I look forward to hearing from you. Marlene L. Ramirez, parent of a DIA student and PTA board member at Bella Vista Elementary. The second comment. Good afternoon. I am an athlete from Bell Gardens High School, and I wanted to say that our pool needs to be fixed because one day it's going to break down and we won't practice for like a week. And also we need more lockers because our program has been expanding these past months. Also, the restrooms there has been trouble with the stall. It doesn't hold in place anymore. The lock broke. Alexandra Ippolito. That concludes the written public comments. Dr. Ewan, do we have any pre-registered telephonic comments or real-time comments?
Yes, we have 5 who called in first, so let me put them on. First one is Debbie Ferguson, so give me a moment while I call her.
Ms. Copada, quick question. The last public comment from the restrooms, the pool and the lockers, what school site was that for?
This was for Bell Gardens High School.
Got it, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, let me turn that off. Good evening, Dr. Scavarna, President Uribe and Board, Executive Cabinet, and community members. I had an issue I would like to bring up because we're about the students, so I need to find out if we're going to talk or we're going to walk. I just received recently, as in yesterday, an email saying that after school math tutoring had been canceled due to a paperwork issue. Sure High School sent in the paperwork from our Fed State TOSA in August. On October 6th, the English language was board approved for tutoring. On October 15th, I received an email from my Fed and State TOSA saying that math would be board approved finally on October 20th and that we were to begin tutoring on October 25th. A Blackboard message went out to all parents on October 18th. Myself and my instructional assistant gathered data from our SDC math teacher of any students that had received a D or an F at the quarter. We personally called every single parent and talked to them about that grade, talked to them about the tutoring program and so on, and had a slew of kids attending tutoring. And then again, yesterday, receiving an email saying that we had not, the district office of Fed and State had not properly sent the paperwork to the board, and it would not be approved until the mid-December board meeting, so we could not do math tutoring until second semester. That's unacceptable. Kids are in math now. We're ending the first semester. They need tutoring now. They're attending tutoring now. They're in the rhythm of tutoring now. And someone's paperwork issue, frankly, is not my issue. It's about the kids, and this is unacceptable. Please tell me how you would be taking care of that, because I plan to continue with tutoring. And sadly, I had a colleague tell me today, they know that, and they know you're going to do it out of the goodness of your heart. And I say, you're right, I will. And if you expect me to do that, shame on you. Thank you, and have a good evening.
All right, next we have Sochi Maldonado calling about new chairs and desks.
Okay, thank you.
All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. You can start. I think she hung up. Let me call her again. Okay, oh, go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead. You're on, so you can just talk.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
But before you go, turn down your volume
Turn down my volume.
from your computer.
Is that okay?
Perfect. Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Is that okay?
Yes, it's perfect. So go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so greetings to all. On October 15th, I'm going to turn this down all the way down. Okay, sorry. This is my first time speaking. On October 15th, so my name is Sochi Maldonado, and I work at Wilcox Elementary. On October 15th, we received new chairs and new desks. They were delivered to our school. I anticipated the new chairs and desks, but when they were delivered, I noted that the chairs were unsuited for my third grade students. The average height of a third grader is 54.5 inches, which is about 4 feet, 4.5 feet. The average weight of a third grader is 60 pounds, between 60 and 70 pounds. Several of my students are about 5 feet tall and weigh close to 100 pounds. At the point where the legs bend at 95 degrees behind the knees, the new chairs measure 13.5 inches. So those are the new chairs. They're 13.5 inches. The chairs that my students are currently using right now at the same place behind the knees, they measure 18 inches. And furthermore, I would like to clarify that our school custodian, I asked the school custodian to take a chair apart just to make sure and confirm that the chairs do not adjust upwardly. And he did. And so they do not adjust upwardly. So ergonomically speaking, we expect our students to sit at their desks for a minimum of 6 hours a day. Under these conditions, I feel that our students are going to suffer from spinal and shoulder pain. I would like my students to receive the same chairs that the 5th grade students receive, which are likened in height to the chairs that they use now. I have never addressed the Montebello board regarding any concern, and I've been with the district about more than 25 years now. But I really feel passionate about this decision because it can be detrimental to my students for many years to come. I will send pictures to the board members regarding this concern. And that's my my concern for this night.
Does that conclude your comment? All right, thank you. Next, we have Irene Pina calling about chairs and desks as well.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Hi, good evening, Montebello Unified. My name is Irene. I have a son who's currently in the 3rd grade at Wilcox Elementary. Currently, he sits at a desk and chairs that fit him very well. He's a larger student. He is 100 pounds and 56 inches, and he's comfortable. And if you were to replace, Montebello has an idea to replace the chairs and the desks with a smaller set of chairs and desks. And if you do that, my son is going to, the chairs are not going to work for him. The desk is going to be small, the chair is going to be small. He's going to be uncomfortable. He has to sit like that for 6 hours. It's not going to work out for him. Kids come in all shapes and sizes, and so do adults. If we were forced to sit on a chair that was too small for us for the majority of a day, we probably have a big problem with that. And I do have a problem with my son sitting at a chair and using a desk that's just too small for him. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to, it's just not going to work for him. He could develop issues, spine issues. There's this thing where if you sit in a chair that's not really the size for you, you can develop like a hump on your back. And I just, he's growing so fast, and the kids are growing so fast. They should be accommodated with appropriate chairs. And that's why I'm calling in today. Okay, and that's all. That's all I have to say. I really don't want my son on a chair that's just too small for him. He's a big boy, and you got a lot of big students or larger students, and you got a lot of little students too, but the little students will just have a little bit more room.
Okay,
but,
thank you.
But yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Marina Martinez-Smith calling about 1-6 pay, tutoring, custodians, and security. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Uribe, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna, and members of the Executive Cabinet. I hope you are well and those you love are healthy. This evening, I wanted to thank you and Principal Larry McKiernan for finally paying the teachers on our campus their 1-6. We appreciate that Principal McKiernan personally delivered the PRF and Dr. Gwen and the Board of Education for ratifying the PRF. Your extra work is appreciated by me and the teachers of Sure High School. I would also like to thank our exemplary support staff and teachers for their hard work. It is my hope that we all receive compensation for the professional development, paid adjunct tutoring, and subbing that they have completed, dedicating themselves and their time to keep our school running smoothly and student learning uninterrupted. I would like to ask you to reinstate tutoring for the first semester. The transition from online learning has been difficult for our students because not only are there gaps in learning, but socialization has also been delayed. Tutoring is important because it meets both these needs. Students are receiving the remediation needed and seeing that other students struggle as well. If we could get mental health support, that would be beneficial as well. Someone to conduct the COVID-19 support group. We are in need of more custodians. We currently have 5 vacancies on our campus. These vacancies need to be filled. The MOU is being violated because classrooms are not being swept and trash cans are not being dumped. Our skeleton custodian staff is stretched too thin for the work they need to do daily. Lastly, we are in need of more CSOs, campus security officers. They should be partnered. The fights on campus are violent. Thank you in advance for your consideration. Good evening.
And the last one is Angela Chong calling about custodians and lights. Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. Hi, I'm Angela Chong. I'm a teacher at Shore High School. Thank you, President Uribe, the board, Superintendent Sparna, executive cabinet members, and the community for the opportunity to speak. I did want to share that I have noticed a big change in some of the maintenance issues on campus. Lights have been replaced, and I've never had lights in my classroom replaced without having to ask for a couple of years ahead of time. And it's been really nice. There's a stairwell in the C building that I had been using a flashlight if it's dark outside to get down the stairwell, and the light was replaced in there as well. So I can definitely tell some specific attention has been given to some of those issues that just kind of fall by the wayside. I do have concerns still with regards to the lack of sufficient custodians. You know, being a custodian is a hard job. And in normal times, we've always been short-staffed. But with COVID added to it, for the safety of everyone on campus, we need more custodial staff. I haven't really heard, I mean, I've heard again that it's a difficulty with finding people to work and get them to apply for the positions. But we as a district need to do more. It sends a message to students that they're cared about when their basic needs are addressed, and making sure that they have clean restrooms, clean classrooms, and high touch points are regularly cleaned is really important, especially with COVID. We are not getting our classrooms clean the way they should be because there isn't enough staff. I've been taking it upon myself to a few days a week do some high touch points in my classroom, but they're not able to be done in between. And I'm not saying this to talk about our custodians, but we need more staff. So I wanted to make sure that you guys know, as a teacher, I feel like my students are my kids when I'm at work. And if I was a parent, I would want someone to speak out for them if I knew that things were going on with not having enough custodial staff. So please address this issue because it sends that message to students that they are important on campus. So thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I hope you guys have a great evening.
All right, that concludes the pre-calls public comments.
Thank you, Dr. Ewan. At this time, we're going to move on to our discussion and action items. We're going
Board President, before you move on, we are also accepting any hand raises for public comments and any live phone calls. So let's wait a few minutes.
Yes, I apologize for that.
So again, community members, if you would like to make a comment, please raise your hand and we will unmute your mic. And if you would like to call in, you can call into the same number that is in the board agenda. And we'll pick up your call. All right, I don't see any hand raises. And there are no calls on the line.
Thank you, Dr. Ewan. At this time, we're going to move on to our discussion and action items. We're going to consider item 11A, Montebello Unified School District Resolution Number 10, 2021-2022, National School Psychology Awareness Week, November 7th through 11th, 2021. And I would like to call on Dr. Garland.
Thank you, Madam President. I am honored to recognize our school psychologists this evening with resolution number 10, National School Psychology Awareness Week. School psychologists provide direct support and interventions to students. They consult with teachers, families, and other school-employed mental health professionals to improve support strategies. They work with school administrators to improve school-wide practices and policies, and collaborate with community providers to coordinate needed services. They help schools successfully improve academic achievement, promote positive behavior and mental health, support diverse learners, create safe, positive school climates, strengthen family-school partnerships, and improve school-wide assessment and accountability. These services have always been important, but now, in the face of increasing mental health needs due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they are absolutely vital. I want to thank all of our school psychologists for what they do each day and thank our director, Rodarte, for all the support that she provides.
Thank you, Dr. Garland. And at this time, I would like to read the resolution. Whereas the rights of all children and youth are to be equally respected, regardless of their background, origins, beliefs, or personal characteristics. And whereas all children and youth are to receive a free and appropriate public education, regardless of actual or perceived characteristics, including race, ethnicity, color, religion, ancestry, age, national origin, immigration status, socioeconomic status, language, disability, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, cognitive capabilities, social emotional skills, developmental level, chronic illness, any other personal identity or distinguishing characteristic or educational need. And whereas all children and youth, regardless of where they live, should have access to high quality education. Whereas school psychologists assist families in understanding and adhering to legislation and regulations relevant to general and special education. And whereas all students, including those with disabilities, are entitled to a free and appropriate public education in a positive and inclusive educational environment. And whereas maintaining a high quality public education system is one of the greatest responsibilities of the United States and one of the wisest investments in the nation's future. And whereas racism, prejudice, and discrimination harm all children and youth, leading to a profoundly negative effect on school achievement, self-efficacy, and social emotional growth. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Montebello Unified School District Board of Education that the week of November 7th through 11th, 2021, be recognized as National School Psychology Awareness Week in honor of the many outstanding contributions and services provided by the school psychologists in the Montebello Unified School District to all students. And I would like to welcome one of our very own amazing school psychologists, Ms. Connie Arellano.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President, Ms. Uribe. Good evening. Thank you again. Good evening, Madam President Uribe, Vice President Ms. Gutierrez. Nice seeing you, both of you, board members, Superintendent Dr. Garland, and amazing cabinet. Thank you again for the invitation to represent our group. It is my honor to be here again and accept this recognition as for our amazing school psychologists. If would like to take a minute to personally thank Dr. Garland for your amazing support. You have always had our back and you have always been there for us. So thank you so much for that. And personally and on behalf of our group, you're incredible and your leadership is greatly appreciated. I would also like to extend and recognize the amazing leadership of our wonderful Special Education Director, Ms. Elizabeth Rodarte. Thank you, Liz, for leading us in these challenging times. All of last year, I know how hard and the amazing hours that you did and everything that you went through to help us as we struggle to survive. But I also would like to thank every single one employee in this district, all our support personnel, our speech, our amazing nurses, our adaptive P teachers, our general and special ed teachers, and our custodians, our amazing classified employees, and our administrators. We are a team, and there's no way that we could do our job without every single one of you. So thank you to every single one of our employees. If I miss anybody, I apologize, but thank you again for everything that you do. This is not, but a lot of people say, oh, you're back to regular school. This is not by no means a regular school year, but we're all working together to try to do the best for our kids, to support our children and our families. And thank you to the board and the cabinet for your leadership. Thank you so much. It's my honor, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arellano. Does the board have any comments or questions?
I do, Madam President.
Yes, Ms. Magaña.
Sorry, just one. Can you hear me?
Yes, but there's an echo, or at least on my end.
I think I fixed it. I just also want to thank you, Ms. Arellano. Thank you to all the psychologists for your hard work and your dedication to our students. I know that there are so many students going through so much, and there are so many different challenges that may not always be physical. Sometimes it's very internal, and it takes someone like yourself to be able to have that gift, to be able to break open a student and really get to know what's going on and have them express to you. And I'm really grateful that we have people like yourself, that we have all of our psychologists that, are just there to support, and that helps so many students every day. So thank you so much. And thank you so much, Ms. Rodarte, for all your hard work.
I also have a few words. So just to all of our school psychologists, thank you so much. And I'm so excited that tonight we get to acknowledge and thank you for your work and your expertise. So this year's theme is Let's Get in Gear is amazing. The theme acronym GEAR stands for Grow, Engage, Advocate, and Rise. Summed up, the challenge is to grow both professionally and personally, engage in best practices, advocate for children's accesses to mental health and learning supports, and to rise implies resilience despite challenges of the past. As school psychologists, you help our students with behavior, learning, mental health, so that they can succeed academically, socially, and emotionally. You collaborate with our families, our teachers, our school administrators to help contribute to safe, healthy, and supportive learning environments. I want you to know that I truly appreciate you for all that you do. I know that times are very difficult and challenging. However, you persevere through it and you find a way to help our students. In closing, thank you once again for all that you do for our students and our families of the Montebello Unified School District. May God continue to bless you and the work that you do. Thank you. And with that,
I have a couple comments actually. I just want to thank all our school psychologists. I have seen firsthand how really great benefit it is to have great employees like Ms. Arellano, Ms. Rodarte, who are here to support our students, especially with our whole pandemic. We have increases of students going through lack of motivation, depression, anxiety, suicide ideation. I've seen it firsthand how the pandemic has really negatively impacted our students, and school psychologists make a great impact, a positive impact to students' lives. So I just want to thank all our school psychologists who work in our school district, who support our students with mental health, and who are there to just hear them out, to provide them services, just to also provide them any additional support that they might need. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. You are superheroes in our school district, just for making a difference and an impact in our students' lives. Thank you.
If there are no further comments, I move to approve resolution number 10. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye from me as well. That motion is carried. Have a blessed evening. Thank you for joining us. At this time, we're going to consider item 11B, resolution number 11, 2021-2022, authorizing electronic meetings of the Governing Board of Education during a state of emergency pursuant Government Code Section 54953E. And I would like to call on our legal counsel, Ms. Copado.
Thank you, President Uribe. Good evening, members of the board, members of the Executive Cabinet, and Dr. Scavarna. As you may recall, AB 361 amended the Brown Act to allow or to continue to allow local agencies to meet telephonically or electronically beyond September 30th. In allowing electronic meetings, AB 361 also protects the rights of the public by requiring electronic means for members of the public to observe and provide comment in real time. We have been in compliance with those provisions. Pursuant to AB 361, the governing board may only hold electronic meetings under AB 361 if there is a continued proclaimed state of emergency and either social distancing is recommended or required, or the governing body determines that as a result of the emergency, meeting in person will present imminent risk to the health or safety of attendees. Accordingly, before you tonight is a resolution to make the determination necessary to invoke AB 361 and would allow the governing board to meet electronically for the next 30 days. The resolution also reaffirms that the emergency continues to directly impact the ability of members to meet safely in person. As you may recall, we do need to reaffirm these findings every 30 days. So at this time, it is appropriate to make a motion to approve the resolution before you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay.
I apologize. I lost.
It was Clerk Ramirez.
Okay, thank you. I lost the screen for a second. Okay, roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye from me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we're going to consider item 11C, resolution number 12, 2021-2022, National Homeless Awareness Month. And I would like to call on Dr. Garland.
Good evening again, Madam President. November is National Homeless Awareness Month. We are recognizing this population through resolution number 12, National Homeless Awareness Month. This is an annual program where people come together across the country to draw attention to the problems of hunger and homelessness. Many Americans are living on the edge, forced to choose between basic necessities like purchasing food or paying rent or going to the doctor. 43.1 million Americans live below the poverty level, and 549,000 Americans are homeless on a typical night. We have multiple resources in MUSD for our homeless population, are constantly striving to increase services for our students and families. I want to thank Norma Velasco, who's here tonight, for all of her work, and of course, our director, James Sams of Student Services, for all of his support for the program.
Thank you, Dr. Garland. At this time, I would like to welcome Ms. Norma Velasco Aceves and also call on Ms. Vice President Gutierrez to read the resolution.
Of course. So resolution number 12, whereas on July 11, 2007, the U.S. Congress established November as National Homeless Awareness Month, and whereas nationally 3% of the school-age children were experiencing homelessness between 1.6 million and 2.1 million youth ages 12 to 24 are homeless over the course of a year. Nearly 1 in 3 homeless people are under the age of 18. And whereas during COVID-19, unemployment rates resulted in over 600,000 residents in Los Angeles County filing for unemployment claims. While unemployment rates have been established, the fear of returning to work, the closure of many businesses, and the end of eviction moratoriums is impacting students across the county. Whereas the Board of Education of Montebello Unified School District, recognizing the devastating impact COVID-19 has had on students experiencing homelessness, and are tirelessly working with community organizations to support this vulnerable and growing population with resources and supplies, and continue to serve as partners for consultation and collaboration. And whereas more than half of all children in housing urban development shelters are under the age of 5, homelessness is infancy and toddlerhood have been linked to future children welfare involvement and early school failure. And whereas only 88% of children experiencing homelessness are enrolled in school, up to 45% do not attend on a regular basis. Homeless students are at greater risk of being chronically absent than the non-homeless peers. And whereas the estimated rate of chronic absence for students experiencing homelessness is twice the rate for all students, 21% of homeless students repeat a grade because of frequent absences from school, chronic absenteeism, and is associated with lower academic achievement and higher dropout rates. And whereas within a single school year, 40% of students experiencing homelessness attend 2 different schools, homeless students experience greater school mobility than non-homeless peers, which can cause interruptions to a school student's education. And whereas students experiencing homelessness are 87% more likely than their stability house peers to drop out of school, homeless students face significant gaps in high school graduation rates compared to their peers and more frequently to rely on public assistance. Whereas the Los Angeles County in 2020-2021 school year identified nearly 65,000 homeless students from infancy through the grade 12, including unaccompanied youth and youth that with their families who lack stable housing and experience homelessness at least one day out of the year. And be it further resolved that the Montebello Unified School District Superintendent of Schools and the Montebello Unified School District Board of Education continue to encourage citizens across the county to encourage the many students lack fixed, regular, and adequate housing, and continue to encourage collaboration efforts between school districts, charter schools, early education, and higher education systems, organizations serving seeing homeless youth, and the community to remove barriers and enable youth experiencing homelessness to successfully participate in their education. And be it further resolved that the Montebello Unified School District Superintendent of Schools and the Montebello Unified School District Board of Education will continue to support outreach efforts to community partners for resources, including backpacks, school supplies, books, and other needed items in effort to address the educational needs of homeless youth across Los Angeles County.
Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. We also have Norma Velasco and Mr. Sands here. So if you would like to share a few words, and we also want to welcome you and acknowledge you.
Good evening, Board President Marigal Uribe, board members, Superintendent Dr. Scarvana, Executive Cabinet, fellow colleagues and community members. My name is Norma Velasco Ceves, and I serve students, parents, staff, and the community of the Montebello Unified School District as a team member for Student Services. Thank you for allowing Dr. Gordon and Student Services to present a resolution this evening on behalf of our students, families, and colleagues, as we recognize November as a National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. More than 140,000 children in the United States have lost a primary or secondary caregiver to the COVID-19 pandemic. That is 1 out of every 500 children in the United States. Children of racial and ethnic minorities accounted for 65% of those who lost a primary caregiver due to the pandemic. Death of a parent or caregiver is associated with youth homelessness. In-depth interviews with unaccompanied youth experiencing homelessness found that 35% experienced the death of at least one parent or primary caregiver. Nationally, we have at least 3% of all school children who will experience homelessness. In LA County during 2021, at least 65,000 homeless students were identified from infancy to grade 12. Currently, for the 2021-2022 school year, Montebello Unified has identified 1,173 homeless students, or about 6% of our total enrollment throughout our district. Currently, all our schools have at least one homeless youth that has been identified. Bringing awareness to this national and local issue will allow us to reflect on how we may do better in building compassion and strengthening empathy in all of us as we support our students, families, and fellow colleagues who also are experiencing homeless situations. On ongoing housing resources, referrals are made to our community partners or through our community partners, such as the Whole Child, 211, WIN, Catalyst, and Hearts of Compassion. School supplies, backpacks, toiletries, food, transportation, clothing, and other items such as beds are being provided to our students and families. I want to thank you on behalf of our department and Dr. Gordon, and wish you all a restful and peaceful and safe evening. Thank you so very much. I don't know if anyone may have any questions or comments.
I have a few words, Ms. Velasco. So this is an opportunity for us to acknowledge, the staggering statistics that you've also mentioned. The children and families who are currently experiencing homelessness. As a district, I'm glad to see that we're acknowledging, first of all, the issue and working diligently to provide those students and families who have fallen on difficult times the access to the resources that they need. Additionally, making sure that our students can continue to access the education that they deserve. As stated in the resolution, I will continue to encourage collaboration efforts between school districts, early and higher education systems, organizations serving homeless youth, and the community to help resolve and remove barriers and enable youth who may be experiencing homelessness to successfully participate in their education. So thank you once again. I would like to reaffirm my support. Mr. Sams, Dr. Garland, Ms. Velasco, thank you for all that you do to support our students. It's definitely a challenging season for many families. So we just are grateful for your leadership and for your support. So thank you for that. Any of my colleagues would like to share any words or comments before we proceed and vote on this resolution? Yes, Ms. Magaña.
I think I do have some comments, but I believe Mr. Sams wants to say something.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I just wanted to say thank you to the board for helping to create this awareness and for your support of all the work that we do in student services, and as well as to the executive cabinet, Dr. Garland, thank you for your leadership. I do want to just take a moment to commend Norma Velasco and celebrate her. She is one of the most incredible people I've ever worked with. She has a passion for all of the student populations that she serves, but I think especially our homeless students. And I know she works countless hours. She inspires us all. And so Norma, I just want to take a moment to recognize you and thank you for your work with this very dear and special student population. Thank you for that opportunity.
May I say something?
I may say something. I want to thank you both for your hard work. Ms. Velasco, I just think that we're very grateful. We're very blessed to have someone like you working with our youth. I think it's amazing that every time I run into you, you have a smile on your face. And I can tell that you do your job and you do it well and you do it wholeheartedly. And that is something that you can't teach that, you can't learn that. And so it's very obvious to me that it's something that you're very passionate about. And, these circumstances, hopefully, with all the hard work that we all put into this, one day we will see no homeless students, and that we will come out of this. But thank you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. These students, they're really lucky to have people like you looking out for them. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Cabrera.
I just again want to echo what everyone has said. Thank you so much. You said something when you were speaking, Ms. Velasco, which was compassion, and really having that compassion when we're working with this population of students and their families. And I see, in addition to every single amazing comment that everyone has said, I think that you bring that to the table. And as Board Member Magaña said, that's not something that you can teach. And so I want to thank you for that, for really caring, for really thinking and caring about our students with compassion. And so muchísimas gracias.
Thank you. Gracias.
I move to approve resolution number 12. May I have a second? Second. Roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. Thank you for joining us. Have a blessed evening. At this time, we're going to consider item 11D, signature authorizations. Consider and update list of authorized signatures for contracts and other legal documents. And I would like to call on Dr. Scavarna.
Thank you very much, Madam Board President. This reflects a change to this. Anytime there's any changes of any of these individuals, you have to update the list. And it's pretty much self-explanatory, and I would recommend that the board approve this.
Thank you, Dr. Scavarna. I move to approve this item. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And me as well, that motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we're moving on to consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled for further discussion and/or action? Okay, hearing none, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented. May I have a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Ramirez. Roll call vote, Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye from me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we're going to move on to our Board of Education member report, and I would like to begin with Ms. Gutierrez.
Good evening, everyone. I do not have any report this evening.
Mr. Ramirez?
No report. Have a good night, everybody.
Ms. Cabrera?
Buenas noches, everyone. I do have a quick report. First of all, I hope everyone's doing well. Flu season is coming around, temperatures changing, a time is coming that I don't really like where, I feel that our day gets shorter, but, I'm just hoping everyone's doing well, and I'm staying positive about that time change. First of all, I want to say best of luck to students who are already working on college applications. I know that can seem very daunting. I know that there is a lot of work and drafts and, just putting out your best self. But just at the end of the day, I know that great things will come along when acceptances come along. So just sending good vibes to all of you. You got this. Keep pushing along. I want to thank the student board members for the report. It's just great to hear all of the activities, everything that's happening. It's just so awesome to hear. Again, we're now back to normal, and I don't think we will, in general as a society, ever go back to normal after these almost 2 years. But it's just great to hear that joy, the activities, and the excitement that our students are bringing in. So I wanted to thank our student board members for that. And then in terms of just updates, I know that we had a comment from a Bell Gardens High School student regarding the pool. So just if we could make sure, I know the information has already been shared, but if we could make sure that information is shared with students and families along any updates or timelines, that would be greatly appreciated. I just don't want them to be left wondering what's happening, what's to come. I wanted them to have more clarity around that. And that concludes my report.
Ms. Magaña.
Good evening, everyone. I had the pleasure of attending the Bell Gardens homecoming game, and that was amazing. Mr. Miranda did an amazing job. They kept it very like 90s theme back when, people did floats, and it was really cool. It was really nice to see the community come out and support our football team. They did an amazing job. So thank you for that. I also had the opportunity to join some of our teams at their CIF playoffs for volleyball and for water polo. I just want to congratulate both teams for making it out, for their hard work, for their dedication. Keep going. I'm a big advocate for sports. Keep going, keep trying, keep working hard. And that goes for all of our all of our student athletes out there. Keep working hard, shoot for the stars. Also, I want to take the time to thank all of our staff and to thank all of our union presidents who had reports today. Thank you so much. It's always really good to hear from all of you. And I just want to let all the staff know that we very much respect you all. We respect the work that you do. We respect your hard work, your dedication. We respect the fact that you do a lot of this work from the bottom of your heart, and we're so grateful for it. When it comes to not receiving payments on time, we are working on it. I know Dr. Skavarna is definitely working on it, and you definitely deserve to get paid for every single thing that you do. So I know Dr. Skavarna feels the same way. And again, I reiterate, we truly respect you and we're working on it. And with that, just have a good night, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. So as we approach Veterans Day 2021, to all of our veterans, men and women, including my husband, thank you for your courage, dedication, and your hard work. I encourage us all to pause on November 11th to reflect and honor those who gave or who continue to sacrifice so much in the defense of our freedom. I want to share a scripture from the book of John. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. So God bless you and thank you once again for your service. I also want to give a special birthday blessing to VP Gutierrez. I know her birthday is next week. To my little girls, which are November 11th and November 12th. They will be turning 3 and 5, so we're excited to celebrate with them. And I know one day they'll grow up and they'll see this YouTube video. So just want to tell you, Hannah and Belen, I love you very, very much. And that concludes my board member report. With that, I motion to recess into closed session. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. We will now recess into closed session. Okay, it is now 9:03. I would like to reconvene this meeting. I would like to see who is present. Ms. Gutierrez?
Present.
Mr. Ramirez?
Present.
Ms. Cabrera?
Present.
Ms. Magaña?
Present.
And I am present as well. Ms. Copado, can you please provide a closed session report out?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. At 7:35 p.m., we convened into closed session at 7:35 p.m. with closed session discussions commencing at that time. Present in closed sessions were Vice President Gutierrez, Board Clerk Ramirez, Board Member Cabrera, Board Member Magaña, President Uribe, General Counsel Copado, Dr. Scavarna, Dr. Ewan, Dr. Garland, Mr. Ellingson, Ms. Hakopian, and Deputy General Counsel Eric Salbert. At 7:38 p.m., all members of the Executive Cabinet exited closed session. As to item number 1, members of the board were provided with a briefing and an update. By a 5-0 vote, motion carried to rescind the settlement agreement as previously approved on October 20, 2021, and instead approved the version of the settlement agreement that was presented to the board tonight. Nothing further to report on this matter. A copy of that settlement agreement may be found with administration. As to item number 2, Special Counsel David Orbach joined closed sessions at 7:42 p.m. Members of the board were provided with a briefing and an update. By majority consensus, direction was provided to Mr. Orbach. No reportable final action was taken. Nothing further to report. Mr. Orbach exited closed sessions at about 8:20 p.m. As to item number 3, members of the board were provided with a briefing and an update. No reportable final action was taken. Nothing further to report. As to item number A4 in the closed session agenda, both Mr. Salbert and myself provided a briefing and an update to members of the board. By a 5-0 vote, motion was carried to approve the settlement agreement. A copy of said settlement agreement will be with administration, conditioned on the approval by Times Board. Mr. Salbert exited closed session discussions at 8:50 p.m. With regards to item A5, as found in the closed session agenda, a briefing and update was provided to members of the board by a 5-0 vote. Motion carried to approve the compromise and release agreement. Nothing further to report on this matter. As to item number 6, which was merely for informational purposes to members of the board regarding an underlying workers' compensation matter, there is additional permanent disability owed to the injured worker for $6,960. The stipulated award has been signed and approved by the Workers' Compensation Appeals Board, and the outstanding matter has been paid in full as of October 25th, 2021. Information as to this matter will be with risk management. Closed session discussions concluded at 9:02 p.m. this evening, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Copado. It is now 9:07. I motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. Have a good evening, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.